Hey everyone. This episode is for my audience, obviously. First and foremost, is for my student. So a lot of you guys ask me questions, send me emails about how to get the journey started to enter into the world of AI, Gen AI, large language model. To basically, end of the day, you want to build some sort of project, right? You want to build project, you want to build apps, you want to make some cool things happen, build some cool things together. So in this episode, I want to try to lay out a couple of roadmaps. I found a couple of posters online that I think it's a good representation of perhaps not all of it, but maybe some of the most important building blocks or stepping stones for you to think about. And then hopefully in this episode, I can share some personal experience. Obviously, without disclosing any private information from company or whatever, but more likely just a personal experience regarding some of these building blocks. So, with that being said, let's get started. This is what I consider a standard roadmap for a Gen AI learning journey. So, first things first, obviously, you want to get an understanding of what is Gen AI, right? What is Gen AI? You can go from broad to narrow, uh, and it kind of behaves like you're peeling the onion skin sort of thing, right? You start with AI, right? What is AI? What does it do? What is kind of a tool that AI can do, right? Maybe you need to train some model, something like that. Think about what that landscape look like without code, without diving into the technicality, right? Just broadly speaking, what do we consider as artificial intelligence? So I would say that's on the outer layer. And then you want to peel the onion skin a little bit, right? Every layer you peel, the dirtier it gets and the smellier it gets, right? So next layer, the blue circle, machine learning, right? Machine learning involves some sort of algorithm, right? You're training some sort of model to mimic what the label says, to mimic what the variable says, right? The classic one is linear regression. Linear regression, I would probably call that a machine learning technique, right? Random forest. Random forest is a machine learning technique, right? These algorithms have well-defined scope, right? Linear regression, okay? There's X, there's Y, right? There's dependent variable, there's independent variable, and then there are assumptions, right? Linear regression, we're assuming linearity, we're assuming the errors are ID, that sort of thing. So that gives you the scope and help you understand what is the kind of problem that people are solving when they are using, say, linear regression algorithm, right? And that kind of give you a framework to help you think about, okay, now we're going from, let's say, a linear regression model, a logistic regression model, to one layer neural network, to two layer, three layer neural network. What would that look like? How would that problem manifest from what we have set up previously, right? So that goes into the pink circle, which is called deep learning. So now that you understood deep learning and presumably you've played around with TensorFlow code, PyTorch code, things like that, you've built a neural network model, right? You compile the model, you run gradient descent algorithm, you know how the weights are parameterized, you know how to set up the loss function, the objective function, you know how to optimize the weights to achieve the training error and hopefully validation error and test error to be as small as you can, then that means you work through the journey of machine learning, deep learning, and you kind of get an understanding of, okay, that's how you train a model. And I think that's a really good step to be at, right? And that's how you get started. And then from that point, you can then narrow things down to generative AI, right? So the type of AI that creates new content, right? It means it's generative, right? Create a sentence, create a poem, create an article, right? Create some sort of even structure, right? Structure file, right? Create a video, create a picture, right? You get the idea. So if you can do all of these from the purple circle on the outside layer, all the way zeroing in to this little circle in the middle that's yellow, then I will say you have a pretty good understanding of what is generative AI. So uh, be able to navigate through different layers and be able to pinpoint the problem statement appropriate to the algorithm, to the model that you're trying to train, that you're trying to build, is what I consider a success metric of this first section, or you can kind of call it first milestone, right? Which is this dotted box that we're talking here. So that's first. Now we can look at the second one. The second one is kind of dependent on um, a little bit of a technicality, right? For example, um, we're talking about a couple of important concepts, right? First one is probability. Also, you need to know a little bit about probability because when we are trying to predict the next token in the corpus, we are essentially looking at a transition matrix. A transition matrix tell us, given that the previous word is this, the probability the next word is this particular token is 90%, right? 80%, 70%, so on and so forth. So given a giant corpus and given the transition matrix can be trained, I can then tell you with certain confidence that the next word in your sentence is whatever, right? I love a cat. Then if I tell you I love, the next word is probably cat, right? So that's probability. Of course, you need to know a little bit about linear algebra, right? How do you handle matrix, that sort of thing. That's all in linear algebra. Gradient descent, I would consider that a calculus topic, right? Take gradient, partial derivative, right? That's calculus. And then last but not least, statistics, right? Obviously, you won't have today's data science and machine learning if you complete deviate yourself from statistics. Obviously, I would say statistics is a most important thing here in terms of one of the concepts. So that wraps up this second milestone, which is you collect all these topics, these theoretical knowledges to help enhance your understanding when you're training that model. So I will say that's the milestone number two. Milestone number three, it's a foundation model, right? Are you able to make an API call to OpenAI? Are you able to call Llama, right? Most of the Llama model, it's open source, it's on Hugging Face. What that means is, are you able to use Python? Are you able to use code, programmatic access to get one of these weights from the internet, uh, serve the model locally, or even fine tune it? It will be better, right? Same goes with Gemini, DeepSeek, Anthropic Claude, Mistral AI, so on and so forth, right? You gotta be able to handle these foundation model. If someone serve you an API, that you gotta be able to handle that.